Hey everybody. So want to take a few minutes and just kind of walk through some plans that we have for the vehicle. Because we started off by showing you guys what we had, and I was super excited, mostly about the engine. Then we finally got to the other stuff. But we really are intending on turning this into our full-time home. And so there's some things we want to kind of walk you through to be able to see it. But there are different plans, right? And so there's a plan A and a plan B, and there could be a plan C even at some point. But right now we've kind of got a plan A and plan B. Plan A and plan B do not have anything to do with our order of preference. We just had to name them something. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is plan B, because it's the larger, grander plan. So let's talk about that. First things first, and we'll get to the inside in just a second, but we have some constraints that we have to work with this particular box. And it's nice and wide. It's 8 foot wide. It's even, I think somewhat longish enough. It's about 12 and a half feet long. The biggest constraint we have with this is it's just over 6 feet tall inside right now, which I'm just under 6 foot, so that's fine until we get to the flooring. We'll get to that in a second. Okay, so plan B would be we do a major overhaul of this truck. So come with me and I'll show you what we're looking at. So we have this wonderful little indented line right here, and that would just serve as our marker that we would come and I would cut all of this all the way around. And so there's a line on the other side, and then we just draw it straight across here, straight across the front of it, and basically cut the whole top of this thing off right at that line. Then I would lift it up about a foot or so, and then we would reframe in this section with some steel framing, and because this is all steel framed interior, all that. Welded it all together, that sort of thing. Make it nice and solid. And then we would end up reskinning the entire outside of this so that it would look like, so it doesn't look like there's a patch that's happened to it. It would just look like one solid piece. What that would do for us is it would maintain all of our really great exterior storage here. And you can see, if you just kind of come on over, this storage actually goes into the living space. So we would be able to maintain a lot of that. And because we would be going up above that line, we'd be able to hang on to all of these windows, because we would actually just be raising them up rather than taking a chunk out of them and replacing them with something. Okay, so that's one option. Let's go inside and I'll show you how that would affect us on the inside. And don't forget, these are gonna go away. We're gonna sell these as soon as possible. This is just gonna be a step up. Okay, so you can see that just standing here as I am right now, I've got just a hand width worth of room in between here. That's fine on one hand, except that this floor, and if you kind of show the floor here, it's a steel downplate floor. And then you can see these holes in here. Well, I was able to go in and kind of measure everything out. This is sitting directly on the steel framing underneath. So what that means is that I talked in the last video about possibly dropping the floor a couple inches to get some more height. We can't do that. So if we just use this floor the way it is, we would be fine. But of course, that wouldn't be great to live in, right? So we're going to be, putting some floor heating down. We're going to be putting some subfloor material down. We're going to be putting some, really nice laminated wood flooring down, that sort of thing. And all of that adds up to inches. And so at a minimum, we would probably end up adding 2.5 to 3 inches. Okay, I don't have 2.5 to 3 inches here, right? Not to mention that if we're going to, do a different kind of surface material on this that's just, a little bit warmer, like a tongue groove wood is something that we've talked about. which means that I would end up, kind of having to bump my head all the time, or just have to walk over hunched over if that were the case. So that's why we've been really, we've been talking about with that plan A, cutting everything around here and going up like that 12 inches. Now, the other thing is, like, I'll get to this in a second too, but like this is kind of what we designated as our kitchen area, If you look, the windows are down this high. That's a really short countertop space too.
For you.
For me, yes.
I'm only,
in general,
I'm only
it is.
5'2",
It's not standard. I'll say that. So by raising everything up, a foot, we would be able to get those countertop heights more of a standard height too. So, there's a couple of things that make some sense about that. Now, here's the other thing. Like I said, this is a good size space here. Like I said, it's about 12 and a half feet long. But that space goes really quick. When you talk about putting a 6-foot bed in here, you talk about putting a bathroom shower combo over here, a kitchen unit over here. All that space goes really fast. So the other thing we talked about is if we did end up going up a foot, it might be a good time to go out the back too. So we kind of want to flip around here. I might get washed out in the sun glare here, but basically adding a bedroom on the back end of this and extending the frame out and all that kind of stuff. So again, that's why I say this plan B is kind of a massive plan, but it would create, really wonderful space in here, and it would just be like, it'd be so easy, but it'd be luxurious. Okay, now that plan would also cost us somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20,000 plus more. Okay, and so that's money that honestly right now that we just don't really have in our budget, and we could probably make it work, but it would add a ton of time, months to our schedule, because that's again a huge project.
Which we're up against winter at this point.
We are up against winter right now, and the other thing is that it would just, again, like I said, we probably could squeeze it out of our budget if we needed to, but it would just put us in a place that it would be really uncomfortable right now. So, okay, plan A. We don't even need to go outside for plan A, because everything in plan A happens right here. Plan A is that we touch as little as possible in here, and we just work with what we got. So, what would still go is these on both sides. These would go away, so we would just have an open shell in here like this. These would even stay for the most part. Right here, we'd have the bathroom come out to about here. And so
actually, we talked about here.
Here, I'm sorry. Yes, out to here. So we could do a little vanity in there as well.
From what we understand so far, we have to have a bathroom vanity sink to qualify as an RV.
Yeah, but we would also just want one. Yeah. So, there's that. So we would end up cutting this space and getting rid of that exterior storage, and then just permanently locking that off on the outside, so that we could just build all of this out. And then basically what that would give us is our composting toilet sitting here, and then little space, and then our vanity, set up right here. And then the shower, it would be a wet bath, and so the shower would kind of be right here with the composting toilet.
With windows right at the perfect view for your height.
Yes, yeah, everybody would, whatever. Okay, so now, how do we deal with the height on this? Well, what I've been looking at is the possibility of changing our heating setup. Originally, we were talking about like a diesel floor heating in here that also is incorporated with your water heater and all that kind of stuff as well. We would kind of forego that, and we would go with more of an external heat source, and so that would come about a little bit later. And then what we'd end up doing is going underneath and insulating like foam, like a spray-on foam or something like that. I'd still have to work out details on the underside of all of this, so we'd still have an insulated floor, and then just a real thin layer of subfloor, even like a 1/4-inch plywood material or something, and then our laminated wood product on top of that, which would put me at the point where my head would probably touch most of the time especially with the light there. That we'd get rid of these lights. But you know, I wouldn't be like stooping like this. It would be more like I'd walk around just my head crooked a little bit. And then, you know, you think about like when you're in here, I'm not jumping up and down or walking around a whole bunch, you know. So anyway, there would just be some things like that. Then over here in the bathroom area, we would put a skylight with a bubble dome on it, so it'd give us a little bit more height for showering, that sort of thing. And then we would just go with shorter countertop height for our kitchen, which, Jess, like you said, would be just fine for you. It wouldn't be bad for me either. Or we would even put our countertop up with a backsplash going a little bit higher into the windows, which would be doable, okay? And then, so this would still be our kitchen area here, our bathroom area would be here, and then we'd have some other, you know, like fridge and closet area here. Cabinets all along the whole outside edges of this, up to the bathroom here actually. That would be like storage cabinets up above, but we would still have tons of under storage here, that sort of thing. So that's appealing for that. And then let's switch places again. And then here, these two captain's chairs would go away. We would build benches in about to where you see this line right here in the floor, and then the top of this would be a table. And then when we want to go to bed, we would drop this table straight down, pull in the cushions, and this would become our bed to sleep on. And so it would basically sit fully inside of this space right here, come out about this far, which is about 6 foot out. And then, let's see.
The pass-through. We talked about keeping that.
That's right. The pass-through would stay that size. We wouldn't end up cutting it down or doing anything different with it. With Plan B, which was the larger, bigger, grander, we would take it all the way to the ground, so you could actually walk through it. But anyway, that's part of the much bigger plan. Plan B would also entail like replacing a bunch of these windows with different styles of windows and that sort of thing too. So right now we're trying to really kick around this idea. Do we go big on this and commit to the Plan B and have it really be like our ultimate luxury vehicle, but it's going to take us 6 months to build out, which means we have to really figure some things out for wintertime. It's going to cost us, you know, like I said, 20, 25,000, I can't remember what I said, 15, 25,000 more for all of that. Or do we just go with the Plan A, which will take a couple of months to finish? Our budget is significantly smaller, but it's not the ultimate vehicle, but it's still very livable and much more than what we're currently in our pod trailer right now. So we're kind of kicking those back and forth. We haven't made up our minds yet. We're still trying to figure this out. Yeah.
And
so
Wednesday we meet with our
electrical engineer, Greg, and he's going to consult with us on a whole electrical plan, and we'll kind of hopefully be kind of zeroing in more on which direction we want to go at that point, because there would be some differences in those two build outs as well. And then October 3rd, which is about 2 weeks away, we take this truck down and to our buddy Dan, who is at Interstate Diesel, and they're going to go in Boise, and they're going to go through with a magnifying glass the whole drivetrain, the engine, all of that kind of stuff, so that we because one thing that's for certain, this thing is run really great in our trip back to Spokane from Bend, but we just want to make sure that we're ahead of any potential issues that might be with the truck that way too. So I can't really think of a whole lot more other than that.
Yeah.
I think that's
the adventure is to be determined.
Yeah. We got to figure out what we're doing here. So anyway, so stay tuned.